Stampin' friends. I apologize that it's been so long since I've posted on YouTube. I've been doing a lot of Facebook Lives on my Rhonda Griffin Independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator Facebook page. So anyone who is on YouTube is, of course, welcome to pop over there. I do them on Friday nights at 7, and I'd love to see you there. And you could, hop on and then say hi, and I would see you and be able to comment and stuff like that when the live is over. But today what I have for you is a little graduation card that was designed by my customer, Victoria Schnepp, and she made hers for her grandson in Stillwater, and I wanted to show what I did for my daughter who's graduating from Edmond Memorial, which their colors are gray and maroon. So I just thought this was a cute idea. I've done several like this, but I've never done a card quite like this. It has gray ribbon here, which is retired, and the 2020 is retired. But this is a card that you can make with minimal supplies, because all it is a gatefold card that has been trimmed down to 4 1/4 by 4 1/4. So it's just 4 1/4 is how wide a normal gatefold is. And then this direction, you'll trim it down to 4 1/4. So then all I did for this top piece is use a 3-inch square. And that works out really well to be the little mortar board. And so I'm gonna show you on the next card that I'm making how I did this. It's a little different because the color is just yellow, but, and then just putting a little congratulations. This congratulations is from Delightful Day, which is retiring. And then I used the new punch, this like triple, quadruple, 6-time punch that you can use many different ways. I used it to punch this inner piece that I could then layer on the tailored tag punch. And so I thought that gave it a little more emphasis. I used an old twine for this, and I colored it to make the white into gray, to make it more the color that we want it to be, just using a Stampin' blend. So that's how I did this card, and I will then show you another card very similar. Okay. So there, maybe you can have a little better shot of it there. I didn't think of that, showing you the top. It makes it so, like if you set it out, it's really cute just sitting out like this. Okay, so here you can see that I started, this one's yellow, here's one in a nice specific point. What you always want to be sure of when you have done your scoring on your score tool, this one's scored at 2 1/8, of course, because you've got we're in America. This is a 8.5-inch long piece of paper, and it's by 4 1/4 so that we can get it into the card, and then into the envelope, I mean. And then you score it 2 1/8, and then as you do this, you want to just push these in so that they make a nice, even meeting in the middle situation. You want it to be nice and snug. So then what I did on the inside of this paper, I just used a 4-inch square for the inside, because it's 4 1/4. And then I used my Stamp-A-Ma-Jig. And on this one, I'll use Pacific Point to ink up my sentiment. Now this sentiment, since it's not for my child, it says instead, a very big congratulations and best wishes to you. That is actually from the Beautiful Friendship set, because I think that makes sense if it's not for someone who's in your house. Okay. So now, there is that. And then at that point, you might think you should put it inside here, but you want to wait just a second, because remember, you have that top piece to put in. So you want to give that just a second. We'll work on that next. Okay, so here is our yellow topped piece. Now what we use for the front of the card is actually also a 3-inch square that you just cut in half on this diagonal. And then I think you'll be able to see for the front, you're just going to cut on this diagonal so that you make a like a little collar for the card. Sorry about that. So I'm just going to put this in here, my little paper cutter, and try to get it right in the middle. And then now I'll be ready to place them on either side of this. So here and here, just get my snail. Be sure and try to get some in the corners. Which isn't easy. Make sure I don't have any on the front. And then right just as close as I can to the edges. Sometimes it's easier to see the edges when you move the card to this angle here, then you can really see what you're doing. I get a little bit of adhesive on there, so I'm just gonna use the adhesive eraser just a bit. And then on this side, put it there. Whoops, got a little adhesive. I'll have to use the eraser in just a second. And I want to get that one nice and neat on there. All right, and then I'm just going to take a little bit of ribbon, and I want to do it so over the edge so that I can just cut it straight when I'm finished. I can just, you know, use my scissors and cut it straight. So I'm going to use a little bit of tear tape down each side. I don't want to get too close to the edge because I don't want it to show. And I'm going to put a little on this edge. And then what I like to do, because the tear tape is a little wide, because you know it's the same width as the ribbon, you know, 1/4 inch on both of them. So what I like to do is just scooch it in just a little bit with my fingernail, so that, and it kind of all goes together once you've done that. And so I like to just scooch it in a bit, and so that it all stays under where we want it to be. Don't want anything hanging out. That just a little bit there. Maybe on this side. So that's an easy thing that you can do, and it makes things look a lot neater. Okay, so whoops, I might need to scooch a little this direction. There we go. I think I can see it now. Okay, then mash that down. Then I just want to get my scissors, and I want to cut it right along the edge as best I can. Ooh, these scissors may not be prize winners. Let me try another. There we go. And then on this side, I'll have to cut twice. I'll have to cut on this edge and then again on this top edge. There we go. So you can see how I did that. I'm going to go ahead and do the other side. And scooch it in a little bit also. And the same this direction. Awesome. And do the same thing. And then on this side, we want to do the top and the side. Oops. Not quite on that one. There we go. This out of the way. All right. So then I have this part finished. So the next thing that I want to do is just put this piece on here. Well, if I can find my little, here it is. Okay. You'll need a little piece. You can cut it however you'd like, but you'll need a little piece to go inside here and then hold your mortar board on. So you'll want to put 2 pieces to make it secure of tear tape.
then you'll just put that, you want it to where it'll still open nicely, so you want your fold a little above the edge of the card. There we go. And then you can see here, this will go on the front. Now, a little tiny bit of these corners shows, because there's just sort of no way to avoid it. But it'll be fine. So we're just going to put a piece of tear tape on the top. I'm going to put 2, again, just because I like to be very secure. And y'all want to be really careful before I press this down that I have my little mortar board piece exactly where I want it. So kind of want it down like that on my point. So there we go. All set. And then I'll just want to add in my piece of cardstock on the inside. Just a little bit of snail, like this. So then, whoopsie, get things kind of nice and even. And then, got that part finished, I'll want to put 2020 on the bottom. And I can just use my glue, Mono Multi green glue, to just put that along the bottom. Well, maybe I can. I'll have to get that out of there real quick. It's got a bit of glue in it. There, now I've got tons. Make sure you do the right side, the smoother side up, even on your zeros, because it wouldn't really matter on the zeros, but, you know, we want it to look neat, so, of course, it does matter on the 2s. There we go, one more there, a little bit there. Okay, so now that we have that, I'll talk about the choices that we have for tassels. If you purchased the Dress to Impress tassels, this would look really cute on there. Like you could just put it right here. You might also want to cut off the ring, because that might be, you know, you might think, well, that doesn't really look like a tassel that would be on a graduation hat. But what I did was make my own tassel. And I'll show you how I did that. I just used twine, little white twine, which, you know, even better to use the twine that we sell, because a lot of times it can match the cardstock perfectly. So what I did was I wrapped it around 3 fingers tightly. And I did it about 10 times, because you want it to be nice and full. And I left an end here, because what I'm going to use that for is for tying when I'm finished. So to me, this looks fairly generous. And I'm just gonna, you see I've wrapped this around and I've stopped at the top. And I'm just gonna wrap it around here and get my tassel in order. I don't know if you can see that there. I've made that part. So then I'm just going to take the end that I left and tie that in a knot. This is, you know, this can be done with embroidery thread or anything that you need to match what you're making. So then I'm tying it. I like to do it 3 times because I am very cautious. So then one more little tie through. Hold on. Almost got it. There we go. So then the last tie. The next thing I want to do is use my scissors to, I want to leave this end long so that I can attach it to the middle. So cut it a little longer than I probably really need to, so I have plenty of room to work. And then I want to take these ends here and cut them. And if when you cut it, it doesn't look even, like if one's kind of sticking out, you can just cut that again and just kind of neaten it up a little. And if it kind of gets a little bit smushy on the end, that's kind of how they look anyway. So I just think that's totally fine. So then once you've done that, you can either cut off this end that you used to tie, or you can just leave it like on the back here. And the next thing that you want to do is use a glue dot and put the glue dot right on the corner as if it were, you know, you can, Vicki put hers down like this. So if you prefer that, then by all means do that. But I kind of like mine over here on the corner. That's just how I've typically always kind of hung them. And then it's going to go to the center. And on the center, you're going to put another glue dot that you're going to kind of make smaller because these are pretty good size. You want to make it a little bit smaller there so that it doesn't show too much. So after you've done that, I want to get it to the edge. I want to put it here. And then cut this off. Got a little bit of lint on there. There we go. And then what else I've done is just use a basic rhinestone that I colored with the Dark Daffodil Delight blend. And I'm just going to pop that right on the center, wherever I think the center is, and then squish everything back under there. If there's a little tiny bit of glue dot hanging out or a little tiny bit of the twine that I used, whatever, I want to just kind of get that covered up. So I hope this gives you an idea of how this would look in yellow. So there's that. And then one more little reminder of it in the gray and maroon. So it's a really simple card. I'm surprised at how quickly it comes together. And you may need to shrink the card just a little bit. I've kind of noticed that after I was done, because I'm not mailing mine, but I'm going to mail this one. So you may want to make it a little bit shorter here so that you can get it into the mail, because it's a little bit small. I mean, a little bit tight. You might have to use one of our note card envelopes, the big notes, the ones that come with the memories and more packs. So you might have to put that on there. So anyway, I hope that this makes things easier for you as you're making graduation cards this year. And thanks so much for watching. Bye-bye.